come forward and be sworn in by our deputy clerk.
Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Good afternoon, how are you today?
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good. If you could, in a loud, clear voice, introduce yourself to the ladies and gentlemen of our jury and spell your last name for our call.
Good afternoon, my name is Richard Sarria, Sarria.
All right, Mrs. Ofcr, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Where are you currently employed, Detective Sarria?
By the Boca Raton Police Department in the city of Boca.
And what unit are you currently a part of?
I'm a detective with a Special Investigations Unit.
And how long have you been a detective with SIU?
Just with SIU or overall?
Just with SIU.
With SIU, I've been approximately 7 years,
And how long have you been a detective overall?
about 9 years.
Do you have any prior law enforcement experience?
No.
And have you always been with the Boca Raton Police Department?
Yes, I have.
Okay. We just heard a little bit about the SIU. Was your primary duties in being a part of the SIU in this particular case to operate covert surveillance?
Yes.
Okay. Were you in your own vehicle operating covert surveillance during this investigation?
Yes, I was.
And how are you communicating with the other detectives on your SIU team?
We have our portable radios.
And that's how you communicate?
Yes.
Okay. Do you also communicate with cell phone if necessary?
If necessary, we do.
Okay. I want to turn your attention to April 3rd of 2018. Were you working on that particular day?
Yes. I
What
was.
were your duties?
On that particular day, we were assigned a task to go find the Prius over there on Northwest 72nd Street. And if it was there, we were going to conduct surveillance.
Okay. And is Detective Dursting on your surveillance team?
Yes.
What other detectives are on that surveillance team with you during that shift that day?
It was Sergeant Callahan, myself, Detective Durstein, and Detective Lamia.
And are all of you in separate vehicles?
Yes.
Okay. When you first went to the location of the 412 Northwest 72nd Street, the location of James Scandirito's residence, where did you position your vehicle?
I positioned it west of the house, way down the street.
Okay. Why don't you walk us through what you observed on April 3rd, that day?
Well, that afternoon when, after Detective Durstein saw Mr. Scandirito get in the car, he stayed at the house, and then the rest of us kind of slowly followed it out of the neighborhood.
Okay. And when the vehicle traveled out of the neighborhood, where did you see it go?
I watched it go off to Northwest 2nd Avenue, then north to Hidden Valley, then he went east to Dixie Highway.
And where did he go after that?
Then he went north to Delray Beach, to the bank up there in Delray, Bank of America.
And did you follow the Prius into the Bank of America at Delray Beach?
Yes.
And while you were there, did you have an opportunity to observe any of the movements of that Prius?
At the bank?
Yes.
Yes, I was on the east side of the bank, and I saw Mr. Scandirito park the car on the east side parking lot of the bank, closer to the ATM. He stepped out of his vehicle, got out, he started walking towards the ATM, and then for some reason he turned it right back around and got back on the Prius. And then he went around to the drive-through ATM part of the bank.
And as part of your duties as a detective with SIU, do you sometimes take photographs of what you're observing covertly?
When we have an opportunity, we do, yes.
And were photographs taken in this case of Mr. Scandirito at the Bank of America in Delray Beach?
From what I remember, I believe so, yes.
Your Honor, I'm showing defense counsel state exhibit 41A and B. I'm showing you states 41A and B. Are these the photographs that were taken of the vehicle that day?
Yes.
Okay. Are they a fair and accurate depiction of how the vehicle looked going through the drive-thru of the Bank of America?
Yes, correct.
The state would ask, and that's 41A and B, the state would move State's Exhibit 41A and B into evidence.
Ms. Ramsey, any objections?
No.
41A and B will be admitted without objection to the next case.
Permission to publish?
Sure.
And Your Honor, at this time, we would ask that Your Honor publish stipulated evidence number 5.
Is it the one that reads on April 3rd, 2018? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Folks, this is an agreement again. The stipulation is an agreement between the people of the state of Florida and Mr. Scandirito. You can take this as a fact. On April 3rd, 2018, James Scandirito II wrote a check in the amount of $9,500 from James Scandirito Sr.'s AXA account. James Scandirito II deposited this check into his own Bank of America account. The transaction was flagged as fraudulent. All right, with that, I'll turn back now to Ms. Walters for her next question.
Yes, Judge, would Your Honor also publish to the jury stipulated evidence number 16?
Same check that we talked about?
Yes, Judge.
You guys up. The signature on the $9,500 check drawn from James Scandirito Sr.'s Northern Trust account was forged by the defendant as verified by forensic handwriting expert Grant Sperry.
Thank you. Detective, I'm publishing states 71A. Is that the Prius that we see in the left-hand side of this photograph?
Yes.
Okay. And obviously this picture is taken from a further away point. Would you agree with that?
Correct, yes.
Is that to maintain being seen by your potential target?
Correct.
Where does the Prius drive to after it leaves the Bank of America?
The vehicle goes back to the house on Northwest 72nd Street.
In Boca?
Correct.
And what did you see the car do?
At that point, I stayed behind. It went back to the house, and I kind of didn't see what it did after that.
Okay. And just going back to the ATM, you mentioned that you saw Mr. Scandirito get out of the Prius and go to the ATM. Were you able to see what he was wearing at that point?
He was wearing, from what I remember, a light blue shirt and light colored shorts.
Okay. And you mentioned that you didn't see the vehicle travel anymore after it went back to the Scandirito residence?
Correct.
What was your next involvement in this case?
The next involvement was later on in the evening. After Detective Durstein and the other guys saw the car go to the Holiday Inn. And then when Detective Durstein saw it leave, he remained in the area, and then that's when I picked it up as it left the Holiday Inn parking lot.
Okay. So you respond later on at the Holiday Inn parking lot?
Correct.
And what do you observe when you catch up with the vehicle again?
I see the vehicle leaving. After Detective Durstein told us, we see it leaving towards Yamada Road. It goes west to Congress, goes north on Congress Avenue to Clintmore Road, and then Clintmore Road east to Northwest 2nd Avenue.
And where does it go when it gets onto Northwest 2nd Avenue?
It goes north on Northwest 2nd Avenue.
And do you see it drive to any particular location at that point?
At that particular minute, we kind of lost visual of it. So the three of us kind of were driving around looking for it. I drove around the parking lot of the 6661 building, Northwest 2nd Avenue, which is on the west side of 2nd Avenue. When I drove around to the parking lot, I see the vehicle parked nose in, facing the golf course, but he was already out of the car.
And you mentioned the 6661 address. Is that the Boca Chica condominiums?
Yes, it is.
Does it jut, where does it jut up next to? What golf course did you just mention?
I believe it's called the same. The golf course itself, the name?
Do you know if it's referred to as the Ocean Breeze Golf Course?
Yes.
Okay. And if I showed you that location on a map, would that assist you in describing where that location is?
Yes.
I'm approaching the State's Exhibit 93. Do you see on this board where that Boca Chica condominium location is? If the residence is up top.
Okay. This is 64th Street, so this building right here is 6661. And it was parked on this side right here.
Okay.
I'm sorry, ma'am?
Are we required to see the jurors can see from their location?
I doubt if the last juror can see this from that location. If you want to publish it by walking along the jury route.
Sure.
All right, with the witness, you can do that. Go ahead.
Do you want to step down, Detective Sarria? We're going to walk, and you're going to point to that location.
And just put the question again to the detective so he can point to that location.
And Detective, where did you see the Prius parked at the 661? You can rest it right up here if you would like. 661 location.
Okay, so right here where I'm pointing at, this is 64th Street.
Detective, you got to realize that you have to keep your voice up, speak into a microphone, so all of us can hear you in court order.
Okay, I'll try to speak up, sir.
I'll hold it. There's a microphone right here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Lost my bearings here again. So where I'm pointing at right here is 60. This is 6661 building, and the car was parked right at the south end of the building. And I positioned myself just south of that, in the other building, so I can see the car. But he wasn't in the car yet.
Okay. At some point in time, did he go back into the car?
He did, yes.
And where was he coming from?
From my vantage point, it looked like he appeared he was walking from the back of the building, so where the golf course is. And he was coming around, and he walked back to the Prius.
Okay. Approximately how long did you observe the vehicle before Mr. Scandirito came from the west side of the building?
I was only there maybe 10 minutes before I saw him walking from the back of the building.
Okay. And you can go ahead and take a seat back. Thank you. Okay. When Mr. Scandirito came off of that area near the golf course the first time, what did he do with his clothing?
When I saw him walking back from the golf course, he had what appeared to be like a gray sweater. He was walking and taking it off at the same time. And I see him go to the trunk of the Prius. He put it in the trunk, and he got back in the car and started driving back to the Holiday Inn.
And did you follow the vehicle back to the Holiday Inn at that point?
Yes, I did.
Have you seen the defendant wearing that sweatshirt before that moment?
No, I have not.
You saw him wearing a blue t-shirt earlier.
Earlier in the day, yes.
What did the defendant do when he got back to the Holiday Inn?
He parked in the front again, where Detective Durstein saw it. That's why I took his position, Detective Durstein. And that's where I maintained for about another hour or so.
And around what time were you relieved from that surveillance, watching the Prius and the defendant inside the Holiday Inn?
That evening, around 10:30 at night.
Okay. Okay, and did somebody else from your surveillance unit in SIU take over your position?
Not from our unit, from the TAC team unit.
Okay, is that a separate unit within the Boca Raton Police Department?
Yes,
Okay, and they were also tasked with conducting covert surveillance?
correct, yes.
Okay. When you were relieved by those tactical officers, did you observe anything else about the defendant at that point?
Before I was relieved, I did see him walk out of the hotel, in front of the hotel, maybe once or twice. I believe he was smoking, and then he would just go back in.
And where did you respond to after you observed that? Where was the next location you went to?
It wasn't till the next morning when we came back to work.
And when you came back to work the next morning, that would have, what date would that have been?
The 5th, April 5th.
Was
sorry.
the first day that you're,
April 4th, I believe.
April 4th?
Yes, that was the 3rd, and April 4th, yeah.
Okay. April 4th, what did you observe and where did you go?
We were just tasked, I was tasked to go to different locations down in Broward to try and locate the Prius.
And were you successful in trying to locate the Prius in Broward?
No, we couldn't find it.
What was your next involvement?
Then later on that day, I met with Detective Durstein down at the apartment on North Andrews, at Mr. Scandirito's apartment. And we were just maintained surveillance there until the search warrant was conducted.
And were you there when officers arrived to conduct that search warrant inside the residence?
Yes.
Did Mr. Scandirito ever appear back at the residence while you were there?
No, he did not.
Okay. What was your next involvement in this case?
After that, I believe it was April 6th, the Friday, we came back to work and we were told that the Prius was located out on Bonita Springs at the Comfort Inn Hotel, and we were tasked to go and meet up with Lee County Sheriff's detectives. They were maintaining visual in the car until we arrived and to help out with the surveillance.
And when you arrived, did you position yourself inside that parking lot?
I did, the east side of the Comfort Inn.
Okay, and did you ever observe Mr. Scandirito enter or exit the Comfort Inn?
I did not. Detective Durstein did.
Okay, and how long were you there for in Bonita Springs?
I was there until the next day, Saturday afternoon.
Okay, and did that conclude your involvement in this case?
Yes, I did.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Tender for cross.
Thank you. Cross.
Okay.
Thank you. You may step down, Detective Sarria. State you may call your next witness.
Next, to the state calls Officer De La Rua.
Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. How are you, sir?
Good, Your Honor.
If you could introduce yourself to the ladies and gentlemen of our jury and spell your last name for a court report.
First name is Brian, last name is Del Rua, DE space LA space RUA.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Walters, you may proceed.
Where are you currently employed?
Boca Raton Police Department.
What unit are you a part of in the Boca Raton Police Department?
As of right now, I'm attached to Road Patrol.
And have you been previously assigned to any other units?
Yes, last year I was attached to our tactical team.
What does the tactical team do?
We do violent crime, surveillance, verdict suppression, narcotics, a little bit of everything.
And how long have you been an officer with the Boca Raton Police Department?
5 years,
How long were you on the tactical team at the Boca Raton Police Department?
2 years.
As part of being in the tactical team, do you have experience and training in how to operate covert surveillance?
Yes, we took several training classes.
And did you participate in those training classes?
Yes.
And what is the purpose of the covert surveillance team? What's your goal?
To make constant surveillance on a suspect, see what they're doing with their actions.
Okay. I want to turn your attention to April 3rd of 2018 in the evening. Were you on duty?
Yes.
And where did you first respond to?
That
When
day,
you- Yeah, when you got into work that day, did you go to?
we started work at 7 p.m., so 7 o'clock we went to our normal briefing. 11 o'clock at night, we got called back into a second briefing and reference missing person.
Okay. And did that begin your involvement in the investigation into the death of Mr. James Scandirito?
Yes,
When you went to that briefing, were you given information about an individual that was your target of surveillance that evening?
yes.
And who was that individual?
Mr. Scandirito,
Was it James Scandirito II?
the second, yes.
Were you provided with a photograph of that individual?
Yes,
And were you provided with any vehicle information?
yes.
What was the vehicle that you were supposed to be surveilling?
We were told that Mr. Scandirito was driving a silver Prius with black rims.
And did you have any knowledge whether you were the first surveillance team to surveil Mr. Scandirito during the day?
We were relieving our SIU guys, so we should also do surveillance.
Okay. When you are done with the briefing, what's the first thing that you do? Where do you go?
We go straight to the hotel to relieve the other guys.
And what hotel is that?
The Holiday Inn
And where is that located?
in our city of Boca Raton.
Okay. When you responded to the Holiday Inn, what, if anything, did you see when you got there?
When I went there, I first made sure I had visual of the car. The silver Prius was parked on the east side of the hotel in a handicapped parking spot.
And when you saw it, was Mr. Scandirito present inside of the vehicle?
At that time, no.
Okay. Your Honor, approaching defense counsel with Bugsman mark for identification, State Exhibit 98, A through C.
I have no objection.
Thank you, Ms. Ramsey. This is 98, A, B, and C?
A, B, and C, Judge.
98, though.
Yes.
All right, those photographs will be submitted without objection to the next state exhibit.
Permission to publish, 98A.
You may.
Do you see the Marriott, or I'm sorry, the hotel that you responded to in this particular photograph? And where is it located?
It's the top left pink.
Okay. Do you have a pointer over there? If you could just use that laser pointer and describe for the jury where that is located.
The Holiday Inn, here's our main street, Yamato. This is I-95. This is a hotel complex. So right here is the Holiday Inn. Where the vehicle I saw parked was on the east side, right next to the entrance and handicap spot right here.
And at a certain point in time that evening, did you see Mr. Scandirito enter the vehicle and leave?
At around 1 in the morning, I saw Mr. Scandirito exit the building of the hotel and go towards his car.
And when he went towards his car, what did he do?
He entered the car and he started driving.
And did that start your mobile surveillance with your other team members that evening
Yes,
or early morning?
yes.
So was that in the morning of the 4th?
Earlier morning of the 4th, yes.
Okay. Where does Mr. Scandirito drive to?
He drives north on 7th Ave, which is right here. This is Park Congress Boulevard. He makes a left turn, which is westbound, towards Congress Avenue, which doesn't show on the map. Congress Avenue is here. He goes northbound, then he turns right eastbound on Plumore Road towards 2nd Avenue.
And during this time period, are all of your surveillance team members communicating and following at different locations?
Yes, we all talked to each other on the radio on our own separate channel. At that point, I notified my team members that he was on the move, and we started creating a plan how to follow him.
Okay. And where did you follow him at that point?
At that point, I continued to follow eastbound on Plumore Road, which turned into Jeffrey Street to 2nd Avenue. I don't want to be too up on him so I can get caught, so my fellow officer got in front of me, and he was directly behind the defendant. The defendant turned north on 2nd Avenue, and then he turned to a development called Sunflower Development. It's like the 7200 block Northwest 2nd. Officer Finian followed in the development, and advised he was driving kind of evasive through the development. I then turned on 1 Street North. I saw the defendant's vehicle leave, running the stop sign, almost into my vehicle, and then coming back on the 2nd Avenue. At that point, I was told by my other officers that he was inside the Hidden Lake development, and at that point, that they lost visual of the car.
And are you familiar with the Hidden Lake development?
Yes.
And were you made aware whether or not Mr. Scandirito Sr.'s residence was inside the Hidden Lakes development?
Yes.
Where did you see the vehicle go to next?
Like I said, we lost visual of the vehicle inside the neighborhood. There's only 3 ways in, 3 ways out. The main entrance is like the 7200 block. There's a backway entrance to Brant Drive from Boca to Delray, and then the hidden valley. We lost visual in the neighborhood, but we knew he was somewhere in there, so we set a perimeter around the neighborhood. Each of us at an exit point. I think at that point, Officer Finian advised that he was seen driving north of Delray towards Brant Drive. At that point, I positioned myself on Linton and Dixie so I can stage, because there's a street called Lindell in Dixie that was closed off. So he had to come out either through Boca or through Delray.
Okay, and do you catch up with the vehicle over there?
Yes, I then see the vehicle driving eastbound on Linton. I got behind it. The vehicle turned northbound on Federal Highway. At that point, it turned into a Bank of America parking lot. The vehicle parks, and I position my vehicle to maintain visual on it.
Okay, I'm going to show you permission to publish dates 98A.
Ma'am.
Is this a more detailed, and you can, permission to have the witness step down if it would assist?
Can you
Would
see
it
from there?
assist?
I can see,
Okay.
yeah.
Could you just point to the areas that you were just testifying about, where you saw the vehicle traveling?
Yeah. If I can go up, it's probably better, because my eyes aren't that great. If I can go up, Your Honor.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And we'll just put this microphone a little bit closer to you. Why don't you go ahead and point and explain to the jury where you saw the vehicle traveling to in 698A?
Okay, so basically we start off the hotel. It's right here. This is 7th Ave. He turns left on the Park of Commerce to Congress, drives north, comes eastbound on Flintmore. That's the 2nd Avenue right here. We continue to follow him. Right, this is the 7200 block of Sunflower Development I was talking about, where he came in. He came out through here, where I was suspicious, and right here, he came out here at the stop sign, almost into my vehicle, comes back onto 2nd Avenue, and then I lose visual of the car, because I had to make a U-turn come back. The officers told me that he did lost visual inside the Hidden Lake development. So right here is like a branch route that goes into Delray. This is one entrance and exit point, entrance, exit point, and then entrance, exit point of the development.
And when the vehicle was caught up to you in the Hidden Lakes development, where did you see it drive to?
Inside the development,
Yes.
I did not see it driving the development.
What about when it left the development?
When it left, I caught the vehicle going eastbound on Linton.
And where is that located on this particular map?
It's not on the map, it's north of the map.
Just above where
Yes.
this map depicts?
Yes.
And where does the vehicle travel to next?
It goes eastbound on Linton Boulevard, Linton to Federal Highway northbound, and several blocks north it turns to Bank of America parking lot.
It turns to where?
Bank of America parking lot.
Okay. And when it turns into the Bank of America parking lot, what do you see it do?
I see it park. I then position my vehicle to a different angle, and it was there for several moments, and then the vehicle suddenly moved again.
And approximately what time in the morning was this, after you had initially observed it at 1 a.m. During your surveillance?
I would say 30 minutes.
Okay.
I don't know exact time.
Did it appear to you that the bank was open at that point?
No, the bank was closed.
Where did you see the defendant drive his vehicle next?
The defendant then next came out of Bank of America parking lot. He went southbound on Federal Highway, towards Linton, and then went westbound on Linton Avenue toward 95.
And did the defendant actually get on 95?
Yes, we continued southbound on 95.
And do you see that 95 highway located on that map?
Yes, right here.
And did the defendant travel southbound
He continued southbound where he exited off to Sunrise Boulevard at Fort Lauderdale.
in Fort Lauderdale? And did you track the vehicle at that point?
At that point, we knew he had an address at an apartment in Fort Lauderdale. I don't know the exact address. I know it's North Andrews Avenue. We lost visual in coming off the exit ramp because we hit a red light. We had a feeling that he might be at his address. At that point, we headed to his address. I saw the vehicle parked on the northeast corner of the apartment complex.
By the time that you got there, was the defendant inside the vehicle?
At that time, I didn't see him in the vehicle, but I positioned my car just east of it, and I was sitting on for a watch when I saw the defendant exit the doors towards his vehicle.
And when you saw him exit, did you have an opportunity to see what he was wearing?
Yes.
Did it appear to be the same or different from what you had observed earlier in the day?
Earlier in the day, I saw him wearing a blue shirt, light-colored shorts. When he came out of the building, he's not wearing a white hat and blue shirt.
And did he go towards his car?
He went back towards his car, opened the car door. He entered the vehicle, put like a white envelope in his back left pocket, and then went back inside the apartment complex.
And approximately how long did he stay inside the apartment complex at that point?
Let's say within 30 minutes.
Does he ever exit his residence and go back into his Prius?
Yes, but I did not see it.
Okay. Did other officers see him do that?
Yes.
Were you still maintaining your surveillance in this location at that point?
Yes.
Where does the Prius go to next?
Officer Finian advised that the vehicle's going north on Andrews Boulevard, or North Andrews Avenue towards Sunrise. At that point, the vehicle stops at a gas station on 7th and Sunrise.
And are you able to see where the vehicle stops?
Yes.
And you see the vehicle stop at that gas station?
Yes.
Do you know whether or not photographs were taken of the vehicle inside the gas station?
Yes, I took the photos.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm showing defense counsel State's Exhibit 42A receipt.
Thank you, Ms. Ramsey. What is the exhibit number?
This is State's 42A receipt.
All right, those three photographs will be admitted without objection as the next state exhibit.
Permission to publish 42A.
You may.
Did you take this photograph?
Yes, I did.
Could you please point to the jury where we see the defendant in this photograph?
He's right here wearing a blue shirt.
And is that the Prius directly to the right?
Yes.
What's depicted in State's 42B?
It's the defendant pumping gas.
And what do you see the defendant wearing in this photograph?
A blue shirt and a white hat.
Do you have a better view of it in State's 42C?
Yes.
Okay. Now, after he's done pumping gas, well, let me ask you this question, strike that. Do you see anything abnormal about the behavior of the defendant at that point in time in viewing him at the gas station?
I do not.
And what happens after he leaves the gas station?
After he leaves the gas station, he continues towards Sunrise Boulevard towards I-95 northbound.
And where does the vehicle go to from I-95 northbound?
The vehicle exits off the Model Road.
Your Honor, permission to publish 98A again?
All right.
If you could just point to the jury where you're speaking of.
Yes. The vehicle exits off the Model Road is right here. I was told it northbound, so I went ahead of the vehicle towards the back way of the hotel, along the Park of Commerce in the back here and staged here. My officer on the radio advised that he's exiting off the Model Road back towards the hotel. The defendant went in here off 8th Ave and 7th Ave into the parking lot, came back out, and then he went back on 7th Ave again towards Park of Commerce, back towards Congress again.
Could you just describe what Park of Commerce, what that area is?
It's like an industrial business area.
Okay. And where does, after drives through that complex again, where does it go?
The vehicle then continues eastbound from where turns into Jeffrey towards 2nd Avenue. The vehicle turns north on 2nd Avenue. At that point, the vehicle turns off 64th Street right here. I pass it up, and Officer Finian's behind me. Officer Finian advises that he turns into the apartment complex, I believe it's 6661 Northwest 2nd Avenue.
And are you familiar with that location?
Yes.
Permission to publish 98B.
Okay.
Is this that location that you just mentioned, the 661?
Yes.
And where is it located on this map?
661 is right here.
And do you respond to that location?
Yes. After Officer Finney advises that the defendant's leaving a car, I position my car just about 5 car lengths away, just north of him, in a parking spot.
And tell the members of the jury what you observed during that time period.
At that time period, I parked. Officer Finney advised that he saw the defendant exit the vehicle and walk towards the abandoned golf course.
And where is the abandoned golf course in States 98B?
It's all right here, west of the development.
Okay. Is it dark out on the golf course?
It's dark and it's abandoned.
Approximately how long do you stay at the surveillance, watching the vehicle and watching for the defendant?
I would say between 30 and 45 minutes.
And at any point in time, do you see the defendant exit off of the golf course?
Yes.
Where do you see the defendant exit off of the golf course from?
I see him exit, well, when I saw him come right here in the driveway towards his vehicle.
Did he have any items with him?
He had a suitcase and a white bag, but I could see.
Okay. And what did he do with those items?
He then approached his vehicle, opened the trunk, and put the items in.
Did you attempt to take surveillance photographs of that maneuver and that action by the defendant?
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, I'm showing defense counsel State's Exhibit 43A through O.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Ramsey. That's 43A through O will be admitted as the next state exhibits without objection.
Permission to publish?
Okay.
This is State's 43A. Is that just the number of the condo complex?
Yes, that's the address.
Okay. State's 43B. Just point out, it's a little blurry, but just point out for the members of the jury what's depicted in this photograph.
This is the silver Prius. This is my passenger window. Kind of put the window down so we have dark tints.
And at this point in time that you're taking this photograph, are you still trying to maintain your covert surveillance?
Yes.
State's 43C. You take that photograph?
Yes, I did.
And is that before the defendant approaches the vehicle?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. State's 43D. What do we see here?
It's blurry, but it's a male wearing a gray shirt and carrying a white bag.
And what male is that?
That's Mr. Scandirito.
State's 43E. What's happening in this photograph?
It's a better picture. It's the defendant putting items in the trunk.
Okay. 43F. What's depicted in that photograph?
Defendant went to the rear of the vehicle.
And what is he wearing in this particular picture?
Looks like he's wearing colored shorts, gray sleeve shirt, and like a blue towel over his neck.
And was that the same outfit that you had seen him wearing earlier?
It was not.
States 43G. What's happening in this photograph?
I believe this is one of the subject closest to his trunk.
Okay. And the items that you mentioned, was there a suitcase that was placed inside the
Yeah.
trunk?
Yes.
43H. Do you see him holding any items in that photograph?
Total night, just blurry, yes.
Okay. And you took these photographs as best you could?
Best I could, yes.
43I. Is that the progression of shutting the trunk from the vehicle?
Yes.
Before he shuts it in States 42J, what do you see in this photograph?
He's got a white bag in his hand, put it in the trunk.
Okay. And what about 43K? What's being placed into the trunk?
some type of big item in the trunk.
Okay. And do you see any like colored cloth or anything like that?
Yes, it's something yellow.
43L, is that being placed into the trunk?
Yes.
43N, what do we see here?
Subject with the trunk closed, walking towards the driver's side.
And what do you observe the defendant doing in this photograph?
Looks like he's covering his face.
43O? Is this what he looks like getting back in?
Yes.
Okay. After you took all these photographs of the defendant getting back in, and after he gets back into his car, what happens?
The subject backs up abruptly, backs into a tree, continues out of the parking lot, lights off, runs the stop sign, continues southbound on Second again.
And actually, I'll stop you because before the defendant actually placed the items into the back of his trunk, did you receive any assistance out on the golf course from Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, we used their Palm Beach County Sheriff's Aviation Unit called the Eagle.
And was the Eagle in communication with you and your team members?
Yes, they were.
Okay. And the Eagle, were you able to hear any of the chopper spinning from the Eagle when you were out in that location?
Yes, I did.
And when that happened, where was the defendant when you could actually hear the helicopter?
There was at one point when we got back to the car, leaving the golf course, the subject goes to the trunk, leaves it open. He stops, looks up. I believe he hears a helicopter and goes under the tree. Then he looks up again and he comes back to do what he was doing.
Did it appear to you that he was attempting to conceal himself under that tree?
To me, yes.
Okay. And you mentioned after that he had taken the Prius, left the area, and started driving north again.
Yes, so we continued south on Second. He took a right turn towards Flintmore, westbound again. And at that point, we continued to the back way of the hotel, which is on Commerce Boulevard. He comes in. My fellow officer's behind him. I try to go around, get in the hotel before him. I park in the parking lot over here. I see the defense vehicle drive through the parking lot, make a loop, come back out, and he comes out here towards, across the street towards, I forgot the address here, it was on the corner of Park of Commerce.
The 701 Park of Commerce that you testified to earlier?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you see the vehicle do at that point?
We don't see anything, we're told to stay put, but then now the Eagle will maintain surveillance.
Okay. And are you advised that there is a dumpster in that area of particular significance?
Sustained?
Okay. Without telling us what anybody told you, do you go further into the south of the 701 south of Commerce Park Boulevard?
I do after what the Eagle told us.
Okay. So when you go into the south of Park Boulevard area, what do you observe?
There's a dumpster in the corner.
And do you observe anything, anybody at the dumpster at that point?
At that point,
Okay. And are you familiar with that area during the daytime as well as nighttime?
yes.
Okay. Permission to approach the witness, and I'm showing defense counsel 99A through B.
Okay.
What's the numbers?
99A through B.
99A and B will be admitted as the next state exhibits without objection.
Permission to publish.
You may.
What do we see in states 99A?
This is during the daytime. The dumpster is right here.
And is that the location that you responded to?
Yes.
States 99B. Is this a further away location?
Yes.
And where's the road that's south of the 701 Commerce Park Boulevard?
This is Park of Commerce right here. It makes a L.
Okay, and where is that in relation to where the Holiday Inn is that you testified to earlier?
It's right across the street.
Permission to publish 93, states 93 again, Your Honor?
Okay.
Could you please point, no, that's not work, come this way, if you wouldn't mind, and just speak loudly and clearly. Could you please, for the members of the jury, point to where the dumpster is in location to where the Holiday Inn is?
The Holiday Inn is right here, and the dumpster is right across the street.
Okay, thank you, you can go ahead and step down. Did that conclude your, you can step back a little bit, Steve. Did that conclude your covert surveillance mobile team that evening, early morning?
It did not.
Okay. Where did you follow the vehicle next when you caught up to it?
At that point, after I arrived at the dumpster, I was relieved by a supervisor who stood by the dumpster where we continued surveillance on the defendant's vehicle.
And where did the defendant's vehicle travel to?
We were told on fellow officers,
Sustained.
Where did you actually drive to?
I drove towards Military Trail on Southwest 10th Street in Deerfield Beach.
Is that in Fort Lauderdale?
It's in Deerfield.
Okay. And where, do you eventually catch up to the vehicle down there?
I do catch up to the vehicle.
And when you catch up to the defendant's vehicle, where is it traveling to?
I last saw it going eastbound Hillsborough Road towards Federal Highway.
Where does the defendant travel to after that?
At that point, he goes north on Federal, and I lost the vehicle at Sample Road.
And at that point in time, were you still receiving assistance from the Eagle helicopter?
Yes.
Everyone's in constant communication?
Yes.
Okay. Are you aware of whether or not the vehicle was picked back up that evening?
Objections and hearsay.
You just answer yes or no, next, and after that.
Can you repeat the question again, please?
Are you aware of whether or not the vehicle was picked up that evening?
I was not aware.
Okay. Did that conclude your involvement in the covert surveillance?
In the covert surveillance, yes.
What else did you do in this case?
I'm attached to our dive team.
And tell us about your involvement in the dive team.
We got called out later in the afternoon on the 4th, and when we got on scene, we were
Which
told
scene did you get called out to? Where were you?
to the abandoned golf course.
Was that the same golf course that you just testified to behind the Boca Chica condominiums?
Yes.
When you arrived there, was it daytime?
Yes.
Where were you directed to respond to?
To a lake on the abandoned golf course.
Okay. And did you observe anything on the golf course at that point in time by the time you arrived?
When I arrived on scene, there was a hole where I was told that
Without telling us what anybody else told you, was there a particular reason why you were going into that pond?
Yes, we were searching the pond for either some kind of weapon or body parts.
And did you assist in the dive?
Yes.
What type of training and experience do you have on a dive team?
We went to a Miami 2-week school, advanced in public safety diving, and also recreational diving.
And are you aware if any items of potential significance were located inside of that pond next to that
Yes.
pitted area?
Yes, there was.
What was located?
There was a shovel located.
Did that end your involvement in this case?
We continued searching 3 other lakes.
How long did you search for all those other lakes?
We searched for 3 days.
And did you find anything else of significance?
We did not.
What did you do next?
Did nothing else.
Okay, did that conclude your involvement in this case?
Yes.
Okay, no further questions, tender for cross.
All right, thank you. And we're now to Ms. Ramsey for cross-examination. All right, thank you. You may step down. Officer Rua. Thank you for coming to court. Let me see the attorneys up here at the bench. Thank you. A very brief witness right now, but we'll just double check and make sure that witness is outside. All right. Thank you. What's the name of this witness name?
This is Officer Finian.
Finney. Good afternoon, sir. You'll be sworn in. This will be our last witness for the day, folks,
Do you
okay?
swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing today?
Good.
If you could introduce yourself to the ladies and gentlemen of our jury, spell your last name first.
My name is Officer Matthew Finian with the Boca Raton Police Department. My last name is spelled F-I-N-N-E.
All right, thank you. Ms. Walden.
What unit are you currently a part of?
I'm currently assigned to road patrol on day shift.
And were you previously assigned back in April of 2018 to a different unit?
I was.
What unit was that?
That was the tactical team.
Okay. And did you have an occasion, we're going to skip ahead to the morning of April 4th of 2018. Were you working that morning in your tactical team capacity?
Yes, I was.
And were you working with a team of other officers?
I was.
Your Honor, permission to publish states 98B.
Okay.
Officer Bailey, can you see states 98B from your location? And if we could dim the light.
Sure.
Thank you.
May I come a little bit closer to look at it?
Sure, absolutely.
And I think there's a laser pointer up there that I can grab. Officer Bailey, will you look at this? Thank you. What is, if you could just step right up here, Officer Bailey, and turn around and not in front of the mask so they can see. Thank you. What do we see in this exhibit?
This is the area of 6661 Northwest 2nd Avenue, which is Boca Raton condos. Over here is the Medina Golf Course that's been out of commission for quite some time.
And in the early morning hours of April 4th, 2018, did you see an individual named James Scandirito in the location of this golf course?
Yes, I did.
Where was the vehicle parked when Mr. Scandirito was driving it when you saw it?
It was located over here facing eastbound at the southernmost parking space of 6661 Northwest 2nd Avenue, east Northwest 2nd Avenue.
And where were you positioned? You got to talk just a little louder so that
I was actually parked right across the street over here near the parking lot of this condo, directly across from 6661.
And were you maintaining a visual on the defendant and his Prius at that point in time?
Yes, I was.
Turn. And at some point in time, did you see Mr. Scandirito exit his vehicle and enter onto that golf course?
Yes, I did.
Where did he enter onto the golf course?
From where his vehicle was parked, which was right here between 64th Street and the parking lot there on the south end, he proceeded in between the street and into the building over here towards the street line.
And did you see, was it dark out that
It was
evening?
very dark. It was about 3 in the morning.
And could you see where exactly he was walking to on the golf course?
I saw him when he reached the tree line. At that point, I was able to maintain great visual surveillance.
And what did you do to try to get a better view?
At that time, there was some scaffolding over here facing westbound onto the golf course. It was about 4 stories high. Given there was about a 3 to 5 minute time delay, I climbed up to the 4th floor so I could get as much of an observation as I could of the immediate area of the golf course westbound, towards where I last seen him.
And when you got up on the top of the scaffolding, did you have an ability to see him at that point?
Not immediately, no.
Did you call for assistance?
We did.
Who did you call?
We contacted PBSO's aviation unit, Eagle.
And approximately how long did it take for them to get there?
Maybe 5 to 10 minutes. It was very quick.
And when they arrived, could you hear the helicopter blades?
Yes, I could.
At some point in time, did you observe what appeared to be a human being coming off of that golf course again?
Yes, I did.
How long after the defendant had entered onto the golf course did you see that figure walking back toward you?
From the time that I climbed up the scaffold and the time I saw the figure, it had maybe been 30 to 40 minutes.
And when you saw Mr. Scandirito enter onto the golf course, did he have anything in his hand?
I saw him pulling what appeared to be a large object.
When he was coming off?
Exactly.
Okay, when he was going on, did he have
He had nothing in his hand when he exited his vehicle and proceeded towards that golf course.
Okay. When he started walking towards you with something large, where did you first see him? What dune?
I'm not sure exactly which dune. Again, it was dark. There were several hills and dunes. I was scanning the area the entire time. The Eagle said they hadn't seen anything. It was shortly around that time that I saw a figure coming over the hill.
And is that in the center area?
It was, yeah, more or less in the center, directly straight from where I was facing, so it was probably right about here.
Okay. And as it was walking, you mentioned it was dragging something.
Yes, ma'am.
Was it a large or small object?
It's a large object because he appeared to be struggling with it.
And just describe for the jury what you observed at that point.
At that time, I immediately relayed the information to the rest of my team via cell phone. It wasn't safe for us to use audio communication via radios at the time. We didn't have ear mics. I saw with Mr. Scandirito walking back towards the parking lot area of 6661 on West 2nd Avenue. Again, I was at a higher elevation. It was a priority for me and my other member of my team, Officer Coronado, to conceal ourselves at that point. When it was safe for us to do so, we proceeded down to the bottom level of that scaffolding. We observed him walk along the side of the building here back towards his vehicle. We lost visual contact at that point.
Okay, and did that conclude your visual surveillance of him coming off of the golf course that particular day?
Of him himself, yes. I saw his vehicle exit. Did not see him anymore from that point.
Okay. Your Honor, nothing further of this witness.
All right, maybe you can stand right there. We'll just turn to Ms. Ramsey if she has any
I
questions.
just had a couple questions.
Sure.
You described scaffolding, and what do you mean by scaffolding?
As in if someone were painting or doing construction, long wooden planks supported by beams with
Okay.
ladders attached.
And was that attached to buildings at the Bocatica?
Yes, ma'am.
So it appeared that there was active construction going on there.
Yes, ma'am.
And did you actually see construction or industrial dumpsters on that site?
I don't recall, ma'am.
Okay. Nothing further.
Anything on that, ma'am?
No, Your Honor.
Officer Finney, thank you for coming to court.
Thank you,
You're
Your Honor.
already halfway out, so you
All right,
can
I'm gonna turn
continue to
this.
go on out. Oh, okay, yeah, don't take her.
Right.
All right. Folks, we're going to recess for the day. Tomorrow morning, let me just talk to the deputy clerk for a second. 9:15 tomorrow morning, okay? Tomorrow's Friday, so we'll be over next door tomorrow Friday, so Deputy Ross will instruct you where to meet him. Remember, this evening, you know the drill. Don't talk about this case with anyone. Don't let anybody talk to you about this case. No internet research about this case. Don't read any newspaper articles about this case or watch any television reports about this case. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 9:15. We'll continue with the trial of the